I'm not sure what you expect
Something
beyond
deeper.
that. Something deeper, how?
So there's a fun little debate put on this weekend, Friday or Saturday, a Munk debate. I guess they're a semi-annual thing. It was interesting. Jordan Peterson and Stephen Fry argued against political correctness against Michelle Goldberg and race-baiting legend Michael Dyson. It was interesting. I mean, Dyson race-baited all night. That's nothing new there. But Michelle Goldberg tried to cast progressivism as classical liberalism to its extreme, a laughable claim, and desperately wanted to persuade people that political correctness was less right and more inevitable. That, yeah, you may have your objections, but it doesn't matter because this is progress, and we'll come back to that later. But there was, there's so much you gotta go see it, but there's a central angle here that I wanted to pull out, and it came when Jordan Peterson opened with his question.
If it's not diversity, inclusivity, and equity as a triumvirate that mark out the two excessive left, and with equity defined, by the way, not as equality of opportunity, which is an absolutely laudable goal, but as equality of outcome, which is how it's defined, then exactly how do we demarcate the two extreme left?
Now, this question, I believe, is at the heart of the politics of the day. It's the central question, and the main reason why the left can keep pushing left, because no one can say when they've gone too far. You can't say equality's gone too far, or people will call you some kind of racist or bigot. You can't say diversity's gone too far, or you're a white supremacist. There's no limiting principle for the left, and they continue to go further and further left. And Peterson got a moment during the cross-examination to ask this question simply and pointedly, and we saw what the other side gave as answers.
If we can agree, and we haven't, that the left can go too far, which it clearly can, then how would my worthy opponents precisely define when the left that they stand for has gone too far?
So to go to the question of when the left goes too far, I mean, to me, it's pretty easy. Violence and censorship, right?
But you're a mean, mad white man.
Yeah, race baiting and violence and censorship. Of course, who could argue with that? Who could argue with being against violence and censorship? Now, this ignores that pretty much any government program requires violence. There's no such thing as a pacifist government. It doesn't exist for obvious reasons. But she's not actually against violence and censorship in any meaningful manner. She's speaking in platitudes. She wants to alleviate the question without any kind of without any kind of real concession. She just wants, no violence and no censorship, so all of our ideas are great. Well, Peterson doesn't let her get away with that and tries to get her to drill down on a more meaningful level. Well, we know how good the left are with ideas, so we know how well she might do.
Saying that the radical left goes too far when they engage in violence is not a sufficient response by any stretch of the imagination, because there are sets of ideas in radical leftist thinking that led to the catastrophes of the 20th century, and that was at the level of idea, not at the level of violent action.
I'm not sure what you expect
Something
beyond
deeper.
that. Something deeper, how?
Yeah. How I'd like you to contend with the set of left-wing ideas that produced all the left-wing pathologies of the 20th century, and to define how you think standard left-wing thinking, which has a valuable place, goes too far.
And then once backed into a corner, of course, Mr. Race-baiting Dyson comes in with a great deflection.
Since it obviously
Has
does.
the right gone too far? Has the right gone too far?
Maybe he wasn't listening earlier.
I think we've done a pretty decent job of determining when right-wing beliefs become dangerous. I think that they become dangerous when the people who stand on the right evoke notions of racial superiority or ethnic superiority, something like that. It's fairly easy to draw a box around them and place them to one side.
The real problem is not the ignoring the alt-right. That's what they want you to focus on. The real problem is in the statement Michelle Goldberg makes.
A lot of things that you, Jordan Peterson, call political correctness that I call progress.
There it is, very clearly. The very actions Peterson sees as the left going too far are seen as proper progress to her. This is clear. The left doesn't care how much force it has to apply, how many people it has to browbeat, how many people it has to smear and ruin. As long as it's in the name of some nebulous sense of progress, it's perfectly okay.
What do? We say, well, there's no such thing as the too extreme left?
And that's the point I want to draw out of this debate. There's no such thing as too extreme to these leftists. Any policy goes because it is progress. This is dangerous, and we know where this goes. This is the justification that's been used over and over to excuse the worst atrocities of the last 100 years, whether it's communism or Nazism or anything in between. It's always for progress. Again and again, Peterson tried to draw attention to this, and his opposition was lost. Either they were lost and didn't know what he was getting at, which I might legitimately think Michelle Goldberg didn't. But it was clear the way Dyson talked about postmodernists like Foucault, he understands the philosophical grounds here, and that's why he came in with the deflection, because he knows what Peterson's getting at, and he's very afraid. So the more they can paint Peterson as an angry white man, the better off they are. Now, Dyson might very well see where this is going. I don't think Michelle does, and she may be opposed to violence now, but she's gonna have to learn to like it, or eventually she too will get run over by the machine. Now, by then, of course, it'll be too late for the rest of us. We are the Republic's walls. Come and take it.
My question about when the left goes too far still hasn't been answered.